Um, Good afternoon, everyone. Today's the seventh of our lecture series. Good news, I believe we'll have about 16 lectures, but some of them we're going to make asynchronous because there's going to be too many. So I'll simply upload the recording, and then we're going to upload the questions after. But it's my great pleasure to introduce a former colleague of mine, Dr. Greisamer. He has his PhD in applied linguistics. He is going to be talking a lot about things that are very relevant to all of us. It's, we're all learning online. It's online learning. And, the interesting thing is once we get into this situation where, we're learning, there's a lot involved, and it's something I think that's quite fascinating. And his research field several years ago was slightly ahead of its time, I thought, and then suddenly, boom, within a few months from now, absolutely everybody is relevant. It's relevant to all of us. So very excited to and very pleased to give the floor to Dr. Greisamer, and he's going to be talking to us today. So thank you, Mike. You're on.
Hey, thank you, Richard. It's nice to be here with a variety of different students from all over the planet, and you see we have some extra visitors too. With I see a colleague, Mr. Parrott, Professor Parrish is here as well. But
we might get a few people, Mike. So it's going to be a great day.
Yeah. Okay. Well. I'm gonna talk about my research, and I'm gonna talk about online learning. And I did a survey just this semester, because it was the first semester for Japanese to be online, and so. I want to talk about that. So yeah, here's part of my PowerPoint that I'm going to be sharing today. So let's see. Yeah, let me turn my video off, and then well, so yeah, my name's Michael Greisamer, and I've been in Japan for almost 30 years now, and I teach at different universities around the Kansai area. I'm pretty close to Richard in Kobe, and I actually taught at Osaka Jogakuin a while ago, which is where Richard is at now. And I just finished my doctorate degree last year, and so I want to talk a little bit about my dissertation, and also about the survey that I did this semester, which was about online learning. Right. So in today's talk, I'm going to talk about anxiety, and then language anxiety and online anxiety. And then I'm going to talk about the first semester survey that I did, the process, the questions, and some of the results. And then I'm going to give you some advice on how to cope or how to avoid your anxiety in the classroom and with online learning. And then after that comes the fun part. I hope that we can make groups. We'll make groups, and then in groups we can just talk about it in more detail. And that's when I want to ask you about your experience and your ideas of online learning, and what do you think about that? And also your interpretation of the results of the survey that I did. So I want to show you some of the results, and then I haven't really made the conclusion or what I want to say in the paper. So I want you to help me do that. I want you to help me make some sense of the data, and that, well, just that's what I kind of want to do today. All right. So yeah, so your job for today's talk is, you probably already know this, but yeah, try and take some notes, okay? Uh, if you have a question while I'm talking, of course, you can ask me, and we can talk about it. That's fine too. But I find that usually students don't do that in Japan. But yeah, you can save it till the end, and when we get in our groups, then you can ask it then. So yeah, so think of some questions that you might want to ask, uh, and think about what the results of the survey mean. So try to make some conclusion. I'm going to show you the data, and then I want you to help me interpret the uh, the ideas or the results. Maybe there's nothing, but maybe there is something. Okay. Then also uh, think about your expectations for the fall semester that's probably going to be online. Right? And then in our groups, yeah, you can share your online learning experience with us, and you likes and dislikes of online learning. Yeah, so your likes or dislikes of online learning. So that's what I'm going to ask you about when we make our groups. Okay, so when I did my dissertation from Anaheim University in California, it was online. Most of it was online. So uh, we just got together once a year in the summer for like a long presentation weekend where we met our teachers and we had to present our data and like that. But other than that, it was mostly online. So it's not that different from what we're doing now. We had asynchronized classes and synchronized classes, and we had assignments, and yeah, we usually met on Fridays or Saturdays, and then during the week we just did our own work. Uh, I decided to do anxiety because from my own experience as a language learner of Japanese and as a teacher in of English in Japan, they have students in Japan seem to have a lot of anxiety when it comes to learning English and being able to speak. And so that's why I was really interested in that, because I wanted to help my students. Uh, they are pretty much, they're notorious for their fear of communicating in English. So I basically wanted to help them. And a lot of the methods of teaching in Japan do not promote active learning and student involvement. It's like ukemi. It's just very passive. It's kind of like what I'm doing now. Just the teacher is giving a speech, and the students just absorb, and they don't really participate. But for language, it's not the best way. So Japan has to step up and improve their methods. So anxiety, what is anxiety? Now, anxiety is not just in the classroom. It's all around us. It's like fuan no kibun, right? According to the American Psychological Association, anxiety is an emotion. It's an emotion that's characterized by a feeling of uh, tension and worried thoughts, accompanied by a feeling of dysphoria or unpleasantness, along with somatic symptoms of tension. That means like physical symptoms. Okay, so as this is a saying we have is you have butterflies in your stomach when you're nervous, or sometimes you just feel like you're going into the black hole. That's this feeling, and in the it's not just in the language classroom. You know, it's in life. People have anxieties about everything. Now, where does this anxiety come from? It mostly comes from the brain. There's a part of the brain that's these little dots here. It's called the uh, amygdala, the amygdala, and that sets off adrenaline glands to release the chemical. Uh, these chemicals are used as messengers by the somatic nervous system to trigger anxiety. Right, so that's where you get your anxiety, and basically what happens is when you're trying to communicate, these chemicals, these physical chemicals, they kind of block your communication. So if someone is saying something to you, and you get nervous and you get flustered, and then you can't hear what they're trying to say because you have anxiety. And so yeah, that's something that we have to overcome in language learning. So as I said, like there are different kinds of anxieties, and actually there's some good kinds of anxiety. It's we call it facilitating, and this is like anxiety. For example, the flight, fight or flight, fight or flight, and that means if you're in a bad situation, uh, you your emotions take over and you just run. So, for example, if you're in the woods and you see a bear, well, I guess you're supposed to play dead. But the point is that your anxiety is gonna help you, and it's just gonna boom, you're gonna run away. Same thing like if you're in a bad part of town and you feel unsafe, then your anxiety is going to make you react and to leave. All right, so that kind of helps you. But foreign language anxiety, which is what our students have, is kind of debilitating. It's kind of like in the middle. That's why it's here. The debilitating side is things like the social anxiety disorder or general anxiety disorders, which are kinds of illnesses. Now, foreign language anxiety isn't exactly an illness, but it does take away from your language learning experience. And so this is where it is on the language learning tree. Okay. So, right. Okay. So now about the survey that I did this semester. I wanted this was the first semester of online learning for Japan. Now they did have online learning, but it wasn't so prominent. There wasn't so much of it. But from April, almost every school in Japan was online, and so I found that this was a good idea, a good chance to get some data on something that's very new and could be very helpful for the future of learning in Japan. Um, Also, with my doctorate studies experience, I'm pretty good with online studies, so it wasn't that hard for me to switch to online uh, teaching. Right? And I'm always interested to hear from my students, and that's another reason why I did this, because that's the biggest source of data and information is what they think, and what's your opinion. So I wanted to ask them. Here is the link to the survey. That's right here. So if a lot of students like. I asked a lot of teachers to do this survey. So a lot of teachers gave it to their students. So I'm going to put it in the. I'm gonna put it in the chat. I'm gonna put it in the chat. Okay. All right, there. I put it in the chat. So um, if you want to take a look at the survey, the summer survey that I did, and actually you can even do it. But if you're not Japanese, maybe you shouldn't do it. But it's more for Japanese students, and yeah, so you can take a look at it there, and then yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about now. This online survey that I did. Okay. All right. Yeah. So yeah, take a look at that, and let's see. So um, uh, yeah. So this survey that I did uh, was with Japanese university students and from a variety of different schools, and I got about 600 participants so far. I guess the semester's not totally over, but yeah, I got about 600, and I just used Google Forms to do it, and it turned out really nice. It wasn't as hard as my doctorate one, which I did online. The technology from Google and Forms and all is really easy to use. Uh, so the data collection period was from July to August. So I collected data from July to August. And well, and yeah, there's 20 items with a Likert scale, which means like strongly agree, neutral, disagree, and strongly disagree. All right, so there was 18 multiple choice and 2 open-ended questions. So, multiple choice was pretty easy, and it was in Japanese as well, so that students, didn't have a hard time to understand the questions. Yeah, there's the link again that I put in the chat. Um, so first, I had this idea towards the middle of the semester, and I tried it. I made the survey, and then I tried it out with some of my students, and that's called a pilot. It's like a test run to see if it works okay and if they can answer. And so I did that with a class, and it worked okay. Then after that, I had to get permission or institutional approval, and that means you have to ask the school, because there's a lot of ethics problems, right? Like students' privacy and that kind of issue. Well, this survey is anonymous, which means that there's no names involved. It's just yeah, and I don't ask for your name or your personal information. So it wasn't that hard to get permission from most schools. Some schools, oh, it was a big hassle, and yeah, some schools they they you have to be approved by the committee, and it takes a long time. And so, yeah, some schools I sent an email to the Kyomuka, the academic affairs office, and I said, this is my survey. I would like to give it to my students. And, like a week later, they said, okay, yeah, no problem. But other schools, they were very strict, and they said, you have to fill out these forms, and you have to show this data. And, I ended up just doing it because I just ended up doing it because it was like the challenge to see if I could get approval from showing Women's University, and in the end I got it, but it was like almost too late to ask a bunch of teachers, so I could only get a certain amount of students, my own students, plus some other teachers. So, but yeah, and so then after that, after I got approval from the schools, then it was very easy for distribution. Distribution means to give the link, just like I just showed you. I just shared it. I wrote a little note to my students and put it in the um, in the class chat or to all the students and said, here's a survey. When you have time, please do it. And it's anonymous and it's voluntary. So they don't have to do it. No one has to do it. But I think I made it pretty simple. So it wasn't that much trouble. The good students, they replied real quick, yes, I did your survey, thank you. So they know that, so that to let me know that they did it. But other students, most people didn't reply. I mean, maybe they did or maybe they didn't. But I got 600, and yeah. So the more students, the more you get, the more reliable, or the validity increases in your data. And yeah, so that's what we have to work on today. That's what I need your help for. Is let's check out some of the data. All right. Okay. Right. So now let me show you some of the questions and some of the results of the survey so far. Okay. So the first one was what grade? What grade are you in? Right. First grade, second grade, third grade, or fourth grade. Okay. And then you can see these are the results. This is the results. Okay. So the majority, 58%, were first year students. Okay. And then yeah, 28% second year, third year, and yeah, not too many were fourth year students. Okay. So yeah, that's one of the questions I asked. The next question was, do you feel confident with online learning? Right? Do you feel confident with online learning? Okay. So yeah, at first, online learning was difficult, but now I have the confidence to do it. And here are the results. All right. So you can see the neutral takes up a lot, like 43.1%. But most would agree. Right? So when you're making these surveys, you want to try to know the answer before before you do it, so you can anticipate what the results are going to be. That's very important when you're making a survey. Okay. All right. Next, enjoy freedom of online classes. I enjoyed having the freedom to study at my own pace and in my own home. 自宅で自分のペースで勉強 looks like I have too many kanji there. 勉強ができてる. Right. So yeah. So again, this is kind of a problem. Is that the neutral? The neutral, they tend to take up a lot of space, and it's sometimes that's why when I did my doctorate, I did not have a neutral. You had to choose agree or disagree. So I did one, two, I did 6, yeah, and no neutral, because if you do neutral, then just too many people select neutral. But as you can see, so we got agree and strongly agree. So that's about 30, 45. So yeah, so 45 would agree. So kind of the majority would agree with what that they enjoy the freedom to study at their own pace. All right, and that's a definitely benefit of online learning, is that you can study at your own pace. Right. Okay, and then another positive one was not having to travel or commute. Yeah, see, Mike said, what about eliminating the middle? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So not having to travel, right? Okay, so yeah, I enjoyed not having to travel, commute to school. What do you think? What would you choose here? Well, the results are pretty high for the agree. not many people would disagree. So we got almost 50% agreeing that, yeah, that's a definite benefit, is the wasted time on the train. You know, so being at home is good. Right. Now the next question is kind of looking for the no answer. Sometimes you don't always put agree, agree, agree. You want to put the negative one. So not being able to meet classmates. So I enjoyed not being able to meet with classmates. And we know that this is an obvious one where they don't they they don't like it. So you can see the disagree and strongly disagree. That's yeah, more than half, 60%. Because that's what everyone says. That's the downside of uh, of the online learning, is that, yeah, you're kind of isolated. But I'm going to talk about that later. You're not really isolated, but you feel that way because it's not face to face. Okay. All right. Effective and ineffective method was online learning. I think online classes are an effective and efficient method of learning. Right? So yeah. So again, yeah, the neutral was pretty big, but here it's not really the answer that I was looking for. I was hoping that more people would say, they find it effective and efficient, but they don't. A lot of people, almost half, more than, yeah, 42, so yeah, 50, half, think that it's not that efficient or effective compared to face to face. So this shows that people want to be face to face when they can. All right, next, too much homework. Now I think you can predict this answer before I show it. Too much homework. I mean, that was like the biggest complaint that I had from my students, was that yeah, it was too much homework. So too much homework was a major source of stress and anxiety for me. And yeah, strongly agree. I think this was the highest strongly agree. Yeah, more than 50% found that homework. And I kind of disagree with this, because in my classes, I in the beginning, I might have given a lot, because you couldn't do anything else. You couldn't leave the house. So, but towards the end, I gave the normal amount, same as I would if it was regular classes. So yeah, 50%. Yeah, but yeah, that's students. So that's what they're gonna say, right? Okay. So online classes after pandemic. So after the COVID is over, would you consider taking online classes? I would like to take some online classes even after the pandemic. And yeah, more 34. So yeah, almost again, almost 50%, more than half was no, they don't want to, right? So this is interesting, because I think that there's that online learning can really help a lot of students that have trouble getting to school, or have anxieties about the classroom. Then this online learning, can bring a lot more people into the school, even if they live far away. So but for most students, they no, they're not going to take any more online classes. All right. Yeah, and so that this question was kind of the same as the last one. Do you prefer online classes? So do you prefer online classes to face-to-face classes? And yeah, most disagree. So they don't like online classes. They would rather be face-to-face. So these last two questions kind of show you what kind of data we have, that online classes are not as popular as face-to-face classes, and students would rather be face-to-face in the class. Okay, so yeah, so those are some of the questions that were in my survey, and so next we can talk about how do you feel about online learning, and the second semester is coming, and uh, do you have some jitters? Jitters means like, like, are you nervous or are you a little bit scared, right? Because who this picture is. I think everyone knows who he is. Um, so this guy just the other day was tested positive twice, right? Nishikori. He's the famous Japanese tennis player. Well, he was tested positive twice now, and he might not be able to make the U.S. Open tennis tournament, which is at the end of the month, because he has to test negative 2 times before he can enter the tennis tournament. And so, my point is that COVID is still around, and it looks like we're going to be online for our fall semester. So how do you feel about that? Are you ready? Are you ready for another semester of online learning? So next, I just want to give you some advice, for online learning, right? First is know your situation and what is expected of you. Okay, so yeah, you have to know what your schedule is going to be, and what you have to do. So that's kind of the basic thing. If you know that, then a lot of pressure will be off of you. Once you know and you can see the goal, then that will help. So yeah, talk to your teacher about that. Next, prepare your device. Now, we all have computer problems. Richard was just talking about, after the storm, his other computer went out, and that it happens to all of us. And uh, from the teacher's point of view, we're used to going to the classroom and we're used to going to school, and then suddenly we have to use all of our own equipment and all of our own home devices to do all of our work and teaching. It's a big load, right? So before you even start the class, make sure you restart your computer, clear off, make room on your computer so things don't slow you down. Turn off other devices. So turn off your Netflix or turn off your YouTube on your other devices. Try and tell your family, say, hey, I'm going to have class now. Try not to use the internet. I don't know if you can do that or not, but it's a possibility. Also, your internet speed. So when you can upgrade your service from EONet or whatever server you use, because you might want to do that because it'll make your internet and your computer interaction less stressful. Okay. Next is be comfortable in your study spot. So your environment. Now, usually I teach in the other room, but today I'm just sitting here trying to stay cool and be comfortable. But it's very important that you make a nice spot. And so, for example, I'm thinking about getting a desk because where I teach now is kind of on the floor and in the tatami room, and it's not very comfortable. So if I'm going to have to do it again for the fall semester, I think I should try to improve my study environment, right? The next thing is avoid negativity. Now, what this means is online, the social media, Facebook and all, there's a lot of negative things, and you have to try to avoid those when you're studying and when you're interacting with people online, because yeah, those things can really bring you down. Next, get enough sleep. That's a pretty obvious advice, in the sense that, yeah, if you don't feel up to the task, then you're not going to perform well, right? Even now, it's 40 minutes. You had to listen to me for 40 minutes. How do you feel? Some people getting sleepy already. Well, try to wake up, because it's your turn coming soon. I want to hear from you, but just a little bit more. So next, support each other. All right. So what this means is, it's physical distancing that we're doing. It's not social distancing, in the sense that, a lot of my students use Line and Facebook groups. So they, after the class, they get together in their Facebook or Line group to communicate more and to talk more. So you can have a Zoom party. It's kind of like this, but yeah, a little bit more fun maybe. All right. Let's see what we got going. All right. So where are we at now? Right. Support each other. Yeah. Next. What else? What else? Other advice do I have? Oh, okay. There's something called a prioritization matrix. So this is a method for you to prioritize. This means try to think about what is important at the moment. What is important in your study life? Okay, and you can measure this with importance and time. How much time does it take to do a task? And what is the level of importance? So, for example, if you're doing well in a class, but you have a report due, okay, but you're doing well in that class, maybe that could be on the low priority, meaning that since you're doing well in that class, maybe you should focus on other things, okay? And you can contact the teacher and say, sorry, I'm going to be a little late with this report. But since you're doing good in that class already, it can be lower on the list, right? It's not one of the most important things. So, that's what a prioritization matrix does. You're prioritizing. You're making a kind of a ranking of what's important. Okay. So yeah, this is something that you might want to consider doing once the semester starts, so you don't feel overwhelmed, because everyone has a lot of things that they have to do, and if you can prioritize, meaning sometimes you have to eliminate, yeah, take things out of what you're going to do, or do it later. All right. And important things you got to do first. And then delegate means just to make an order of what you're going to do. All right. Okay. Welcome, Joel. Thank you for joining. All right. Okay. All right. So, okay. The next advice I have for you, the last advice, is this the last? Yeah, this is kind of the last. Is routine. A routine is very important for your study life. Okay, so you want to first be prepared. Okay, get organized. So for example, you can make a schedule. All right. I think a lot of students do this already. Once you get your syllabus, your classes, then you put them either digital or physical. You want to make like a diary or a schedule book. They have ones online. They have ones for your tablet or for your phone, or you could just have a physical one, a notebook. Okay. So you know each day what you have to do and when. If you're organized, it will make your life a lot simpler. Okay, and so that's part of the routine that I'm trying to emphasize here. Yeah. So so yeah, if you get into a routine, like a study routine of when you're going to study and when you're going to do things, then I think you'll feel better about things. For me, I have to study in the morning. All right. So when after the coffee, after some stretching or yoga, then I feel energized, and I feel like I can do things and I can focus. And as the day goes on, I kind of get tired, and other things come in that kind of, and then by evening, uh, well, yeah, I'm pretty much zoned out by evening, and then the evening is more of wine and Netflix time. So yeah, I work better in the morning. So that's my kind of routine, is if I can get things done early on. And so if you have this routine, it will train you mentally and physically. So yeah, I think that's a good thing, good advice to do. Now, other advice is well, this is from my dissertation, and build self confidence. So the more self confidence you have, uh, the stronger you'll be in the class. This is more for like classroom anxiety, and it's very typical. We say don't be afraid to make mistakes, and that's quite often the case with my Japanese students. Often in class, they say something, and I say, "Excuse me," and I didn't hear what they said, but they think that they said it wrong, and it just kind of throws off the conversation, because I just need them to say it again, but they think that they said it wrong, and that often uh, it's often a problem. The next thing is a cultural and travel experience. So part of it is building your confidence, and the other part is from your experience. If you can, like you're doing now, this online course, things like this is what really gives you confidence and will help you get over anxiety, is your experience. You know how it is. The students that travel abroad and then come back, sometimes they're like different people. Not only their English level, but their thinking changes, and it really shows in the way they interact in class. They're not afraid to speak, and it's really good to have those students in the class, because they really motivate the other students to speak. Okay. All right. Good. So. All right. So uh, that's what I have to say. Now I want to hear what you have to say. Okay. So now I want to make some groups. Okay. And in our groups, I'd like to. I'd like you to try in when we make the groups, if you can, turn on your camera so that we can see you, and if the connection allows. Sometimes you can't turn on your camera because the connection isn't so good. And yeah, now we can have some question time and talk about the notes that you have taken, if you took any, and think about what the results of my survey. I can show you again some of the results, and see if you can interpret any of those results. What do you think they mean? All right, and then how about your expectations? I want you to tell us about your expectations. What are you expecting from fall semester online compared to the first semester? Also, you can share your online learning experiences with us. Has it been good? Has it been bad? What really stuck out? What was uh, what do you remember from your online learning? And yeah, what did you like about it? What are your dislikes? What your what are your likes or dislikes of online learning? Yeah, let's talk about that. Okay, so the teachers are going to join in the group, and yeah, so I'll come to each group and try to talk to each of you. All right, okay, so let's see if I can make some groups. Reaction. No. I think Richard has to make the groups when he's ready. But until then, well, shall we just talk as a group before we um, make our groups? Does anybody have any comments so far? If not, yeah, we can try and make groups and then try and talk in smaller groups.
Well, Michael, that was quite interesting. I was quite impressed with a lot of what you were talking about, and some of those questions that you're asking, some of the things we need to think about. The whole world went to online learning, and so it's something that became, a small segment of the, higher education to the internet. Quite fascinating. For really good points that you made up, good questions, and I never thought of it. I got muted. I was unmuted. Sorry. So yeah, no, I never thought of it until it's not social distancing is not what social distancing, and so that's an interesting term, isn't it? Physical distancing.
Yeah, it is. It is. We call it social distancing, but actually it's more of a physical thing, and it's okay to be social.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're social beings. And I think, a lot of the students that I had, first year students in particular, felt very isolated. And, it's one of those challenges, so yeah. Great. Okay, so now, did you have some questions, Michael, that you had prepared, or did you?
No, but just that list that I was showing of what I'd like them to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
These kind of things.
Oh, good. Okay, that's great stuff. Okay, everybody. So so we're gonna get into groups. Please turn on your camera. There's 21. So how about what size of group? How many members in each group would you like?
Yeah, we can just divide them up if there's 22. So yeah, maybe five each.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I can do that. And so everybody, we're gonna get into groups. We're gonna have a bit of a discussion, and from there.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll create groups, and we'll get into groups, and we'll have a discussion, and then we'll come back. And I guess I could do this manually. So okay, Bruce. Okay, so about 5 members each, and that's what I'll do now.
Breakout room.
Breakout rooms, yeah, I'm just trying to make those breakout rooms. Okay, and if you're unassigned, I'll try to figure this out real quick. Doctor. Dr. Hitai, I don't think he can hear us. He said his camera had frozen. Joel, can you hear us? Joel? Dr. Hitai, can you hear us? Okay, what I'll do is I'll stop the recording.